Chapter 4. When Dani heard his name called, she couldn't help looking up. Then she froze. He'd spotted her. She made small talk when he stopped to talk to her, but she didn't know how she'd managed. Once Zach had left, she closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and counted to 10 before exhaling. That had been harder than she'd imagined. It had hurt more than she'd thought it would. Dani looked at her nearly empty paper cup and suddenly was no longer thirsty. The thought of the sweet coffee and chocolate mixture made her stomach churn. She stood, dropped her cup in the trash, and left. The break that had been so enticing an hour before had lost its appeal. She'd rather be unpacking. Back at the rented cabin she would share with Mark, she stepped inside and scanned the front room, trying to decide what to tackle first. Mark's room. She missed him, but he still had another week with her mom, so she would have to make do with getting his room ready so she could feel closer to him. She took her time folding and putting away her son's clothes, organizing his toys and making sure things were just right, even though she knew it would only last until Mark arrived. He was a typical 9-year-old boy, and not at all neat or organized. After she finished in his room, she moved on to hers, grateful she'd put the beds together first, as it gave her somewhere to set boxes as she unpacked them. Once she was done, all she had to do was make it up and she could finally sleep. She'd been busy all day except for her coffee break, and she had slept hard but not dreamlessly. No, she dreamed about Zach and what might have been. Dani woke tired still. Her whole body ached as though she'd been fighting all night. After thinking about it, she realized she had been. She'd known her dream was just a dream and had tried to fix it to make things right, but she hadn't been able to make Zach disappear or make her dream Zach behave the way the real one had. The battle, though only mental, had exhausted her. She yawned and sat up, then remembered she was out of coffee. Dani groaned and resisted the urge to just lie back and go to sleep again. Sooner or later, she'd have to go to the store. Might as well get it over with. She pushed the haunting dreams out of her head and got out of bed. There was no point in belaboring what was. Her energy was better spent dealing with what now is, and doing her best to deal with it. Dani was thankful for her son, a nice home, and a good job. That was all she needed. She wasn't looking for more. There wasn't really time for more. She didn't want to take any time away from Mark. He was her everything, and though it had been hard, he was worth it. Dani dressed and went into the front room of her cabin, wishing again she'd remembered to get groceries the day before. She stood in front of the large picture window overlooking the lake, and was once again reminded why she'd wanted to come back. The view of the water edged with pines and the mountain peaks as a backdrop was exhilarating. It was almost as good at waking her up as caffeine. She turned away, put on her shoes, tucked her shopping list into her purse, and headed out.